I came across this long write-up on Facebook, and when I read it, it just hit me. This needs to be shared verbally, not in writing, because as we all know, when people see these long Facebook posts, they usually just scroll past. They read the first few paragraphs and they hit like and they're done and they keep scrolling more. But I think this is important enough to share, so I'm willing to read it as if we were like at a book club and we're reading an excerpt. I did not write this. Let me just get that straight right now. I am not taking credit for what I'm about to share with you. I got it off of a Facebook page that I don't even follow. It just popped up on my feed, and the guy's name is Kevin Hazlett out of Clearwater, Florida. Might be Clearwater Beach, Florida, I'm not sure. And I appreciate that the algorithms put it in front of me today so that I could in turn share it with you. Not by just hitting the share button and having nobody else read it, but by verbally sharing what he wrote. And I don't even know if Kevin wrote this. He could have just copied and pasted it for all I know, but that's where I got it from. And what is important here is that it gets shared over and over and everybody hears this message. Let's go. The part of fentanyl no one will say out loud: America is being poisoned on purpose. And almost nobody in Washington is willing to admit it. Not by addicts, not by corner dealers, not by kids making reckless choices. By a global pipeline built to kill Americans long before most people realize what's happening. We're not dealing with drugs anymore. We're dealing with an industrial machine that begins in China, moves through cartel syndicates in Mexico, and ends with parents planning funerals for children who should still be alive. And yet, our leaders speak about fentanyl like it's a policy discussion, a substance issue, something that can be talked to death in a hearing room. Meanwhile, synthetic opioids are killing more Americans each year than Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan combined. That's not a crisis. That's an attack. And the people running it are counting on our silence. Most Americans still don't understand how fentanyl actually gets here. They know the tragedies and they've heard the statistics. Some have buried someone they love. But very few understand the pipeline that makes it all possible. A lot of people still picture the drug world the way television taught it. A Walter White figure in an RV cooking meth in the desert. That myth makes the threat feel small, local, contained. But fentanyl isn't Walter White. And nobody is mixing this poison in an RV anymore. Fentanyl is industrial, organized, international, and the people behind it operate with the efficiency of corporations. And here's the part almost nobody hears. It starts in China, not in garages or basements, in real facilities, quietly diverting research chemicals into criminal networks. When pressure builds, production doesn't stop, it shifts. India and other countries step in whenever China tightens controls. Then the chemicals move south. South America handles laundering. Mexico handles the super labs and the export. These aren't amateur labs. They're factories capable of producing millions of counterfeit pills at a time. And in recent DEA testing, 7 out of 10 of those pills contained a potentially lethal dose. That isn't a mistake. It's the business model. Then it heads north. Cars, trucks, freight, mail, tunnels, couriers. And as our border weakened, the flow went from a trickle to a flood. Between 2019 and the early 2020s, fentanyl seizures jumped more than 400%. Not because we became better at finding it, but because the supply became overwhelming. A porous border doesn't just let people through, it lets a drug war through. And the cartels treated that opening like an invitation. Once fentanyl enters the United States, it spreads fast. Stash houses, pill presses, suburban dealers, encrypted apps. It reaches every zip code. It's a national poisoning. And this is where my experience comes in. I've prosecuted trafficking cases. I've sat with agents, studied routes, read ledgers, and watched these networks operate with chilling precision. And now I represent families whose children were killed by a drug they never intended to take. Young men and women who stepped unknowingly into the last link of an international supply chain. America sees overdose numbers. I see the machinery behind them, the packaging, the payments, the timing, the routes. None of it is random. None of it is accidental. Fentanyl is an imported product, and its final destination is far too often an American funeral home. 2/3 of all overdose deaths in this country now involve synthetic opioids. 2/3. Which brings us to what happened on the water this week, which is now a couple weeks ago, because I'm just now reading this. A suspected smuggling boat ran dark, ignored commands, came straight toward shore, and this time U.S. military forces didn't chase it, warn it, or wait to see what happened next. They struck it, and the vessel exploded. And some people couldn't believe it. I could. It took a presidential order to stop that suspected smuggling boat, a hard call from the top. While the rest of Washington still treats this crisis like something that can be managed with hearings, press releases, and excuses. And while U.S. forces were out there taking a suspected trafficking vessel off the water, we had people online and a few loud voices in the media insisting it was probably just fishermen. Fishermen don't run dark. Fishermen don't ignore commands. Fishermen don't sprint toward the American coastline in the middle of the night. Anyone who has ever worked a real trafficking case knows exactly what that behavior means. Pretending otherwise isn't just naive, it's dangerous. Because when you understand the pipeline, where it starts, who directs it, how the product moves, and what happens when even one shipment gets through, you don't see a boat. You see 50,000 funerals waiting to happen. This is a war, not a metaphor, not rhetoric. a real war being waged against the American people. And here's the part that should keep every parent in this country up at night. The people killing our kids never hesitate, never apologize, never slow down. So, why are we? Why is the most powerful nation on earth fighting this with half measures while families bury children who never even meant to take fentanyl? If someone broke into your home tonight to harm your child, you wouldn't debate it. You'd stop them hard. That's the shift this country needs. Not after another obituary, not after another empty seat at a kitchen table. Because if we don't start hitting back with everything we have, the next funeral you hear about won't be a stranger's. It will be someone you love. If this opened your eyes, share it. Someone you love may need to read it before it's too late. And if you want the truth without filters, follow his page. Again, his name is Kevin Hazlett. And he finishes with, God bless America. I'm just a parent who has gone through the entire drug crisis for over a decade. I'm just a grandparent raising children, grandkids. I'm just a parent who has battled the heartbreak, the disconnection, the abandonment, the lies, the manipulation. I'm just a parent who watched drugs ravage their loved one. And I'm just a parent who shares her personal story to try to help other parents make it through. Because while drugs so often take the lives of our children, they really also take the lives of many parents and family members along the way. Please, please share Kevin's message. Thank you.